Right then, normally you would have Coral doing the intros, but Coral's on a little cruise doing one of her Coz's adventures. So you've got me, got to put up with my ugly mug for the moment. I'm just reporting in to say that I'm at Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. It was a little last minute decision to race in the Focus Cup. So behind me, there's a whole bunch of Focuses. I'm in one which is Liqui Moly, and there's 22 in my class, which is class 2 Z-Tech diesels, and I think there's 10 STs, which are the 310 brake horsepower jobbers. So yeah, here at Donington, this is test day. At the moment, my car is being severely worked on. There's, I think, 3 mechanics working on it at the moment. It was okay in the first session, a little bit down on power. Second session, it overheated. I was going down the craners, lost all power, saw the temperature was at 114, backed off. Well, the car actually backs itself off, and it kept climbing. It got to 119 degrees, so I just virtually came down to a crawl and got back to the pits. It was nearly the end of the session. They've just found it's actually a burst water pipe, which they are in the process of putting back together, and we're just about to go out. A couple of the guys, he's already got in his car here. He's already sat in his car ready to go to assembly. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make the third session. First session I did like 2 laps because we had red flag, red flag, red flag. Second session again, I think I did 4 laps, red flag, and then red flag, and then it overheated, so I came in. So I was hoping to do the third session and get a good session, but it'd be nice, as it's a new car to me, to be able to obviously get that hang of it. Sorry about the noise, the airplanes. We're at Donington Park GP by the airport, and a lot of planes flying over, which is just above me. So we're going up towards my car here. It makes me nervous whenever people are getting in the cars and starting them. And mine's still got 3 technicians around it trying to put it back together, but they're crack on, they're doing a good job. One thing that does happen with these diesels, they do puff out a lot of smoke, and you can see the back of the car is quite black, and that rear window, I can't really see out the rear view mirror because it's covered in diesel dust, I guess you call it. But yeah, it seems to be more on this side than that side, so I'm going to get a cloth actually and clean the rear window. Okay, little update for you. As you can probably see, there's no Focuses in the paddock apart from mine. Still being worked on hurriedly. Let me just check. That should be in, yeah. There's 2. One's mine and the other one next to it. They actually caught fire earlier on. But they are working on it, and they're hoping to get me out in about 10 minutes. Right then, quick update for you. Sorry, I'm talking about camera. I only managed to do 2 laps in that last session. Car was still being repaired. Got out literally at the end, which was probably quite a good thing, just to check it was all right. Ran it, and actually they had to put another litre of water in it when I came in because it had a bit of an airlock. So that's hopefully sorted. Hope the temperature's good. And I've learned something actually. There's a guy here who's a bit of a specialist. He took my memory card out, put it against one of the top boys, and he showed me where I was losing a bit of time, which was handy to know. And he also said you can flat shift, which is worth about 0.2 of a second per gear change. So 5 gear changes, there's a second. So hopefully we get into the 58s, 59s, but we'll see what we can do. Right then, so here we are at Donington Park. We're doing the GP circuit, or I'm doing the GP circuit in the Focus Cup in a Focus Z-Tech diesel. I think there's 32 of us on the grid, but that's split into 2 classes. There's a class 1, which is the Focus ST, which is the petrol 310 brake horsepower, and then there's about 10 of those, and then the Focus Z-Tech diesel, which is what I'm in, class 2. They're about 184 brake horsepower, I think they're mapped to, and there's 22 of those. Be an interesting day. First time I've raced these. Quite a heavy car compared to the 206, so yes, taking a little bit of getting used to having to manhandle a bit more weight around the corners and just getting the corner speed up together. So that's my little intro. then, so I've just qualified. I qualified 6th on the grid in the Focus CTEC diesels, which was okay out of 22 of us, so I suppose not too bad first time out. But I know the car is down on power, and the mechanics are saying to me, yeah, no, it's fine, but it's definitely down on power. They're going to have a look at it, because I was catching people in qualifying on the brakes through the corners, and then they're pulling away from me down the straight. So I know it's a little bit down on power. I know racing drivers' excuses, but it's definitely down, and they've actually plugged the machine in, and it does say low boost on the turbo, so it's not getting full boost. So they're not sure what they can do with it. They're going to try and clean all the sensors, blow through the pipes, just see if there's any leaks or anything, and go from there. Did it for 1 minute 59.4, fastest guy did a 57.7, but then there's a bunch of guys in the 58.5. So I'm a second off the first four. Just got to try and make that up. Yeah, and I was pushing. I was trying very, very hard. Right, me again. So we're just about to go out for the first race. Ground is wet, but I think the track is dry because cars have been going round. We've had quite a drizzle of rain, but currently it's not drizzling, so hopefully I would prefer it to be dry. I don't want it to be wet out there. So I'm going to get booted and suited and get in the car and get ready for assembly and ready to race. managed to get a trophy. Oh, let's get my hat straight. I got a trophy, a Best Newcomer AM award, which I think is amateur. First placed rookie driver in the series. Finished 6th overall. Started 6th, but dropped about 4 places going down Craners. They're just mad coming down the outside of me. I thought, right, then you carry on if you want to go down the outside. But they managed to stay on track. Made for an entertaining race. One of them broke down in front of me and he just went off down the Craners. And then 2 went off because it started raining. Got quite drizzly. And I was actually pretty okay in those conditions. I like the wet stroke dry conditions, just hunting out where the grip is. With my smooth driving style, I was able to keep it on track a little bit better than some of the others. Just started picking them off and ended up 6th. And I was just tracing down Rickaby, caught him big time, but the checker flag came out. So I ended up 6th overall, which apparently puts me on pole position for the second race. Ooh. I'm not sure I want to be on pole position. My car is still down on power, probably 15-20 brake horsepower down, I'd say. So it's not massive, but it's definitely down. Very pleased with the trophy. I have taken a picture, so we can probably put a picture up on the video when it goes out.
Underway. The red lights will come on the gantry, and for the final time in 2025 we go Focus Cup racing at Donington Park. The lights go out and they charge their way up towards Redgate Corner for the first time, and in the battle for the Division 2s, Ali Topley has already made some good progress by the look of things and has picked off 3, possibly even 4 cars as they head round through Redgate Corner for the first time. A little bit of shuffling just towards the front end, as of course another car that wants to make progress is the YouTube car, which is the silver and the red car in the hands of Mark McCann. The grid for this one is based on the finishing positions from earlier on, with batches of 6 reversed each time. Something happened in the Class 1s towards the front. I saw a sideways car down at the old hairpin. It's gathered up the moment, and the one car that is making progress is Ali Topley. He is charging his way through the order at this stage, and he's almost got himself right up to where his main championship rival Mark McCann is at this stage. Off, I'm afraid, into the gravel chap is John Glover, and that's down at the old hairpin. John making his debut in the championship, I think has made contact with the barriers, and because he's made contact with the barriers, oh dear, the red flag is coming out, and the red flag is not at all what we needed on the basis of we are really struggling for light here at Donington Park. And the reason being, yeah, it's not just John Glover that's off, I'm afraid. We've also got Callum Foster that is off the circuit, and we have also got Jason Bailey off the circuit. Callum Foster's car, you can see the tyre is off the wheel rim as well.
Right then, well, because I started on pole for the second race, as they reversed the top six, so 6th place finisher for first race becomes pole position for the second race, then they reverse 7 to 12, 13 to 18, etc, etc. I started on pole for the second race. We just about did a lap and then they red flagged it and it was getting dark, and as you can see it's pretty dark now, but they called it as a race win for me. So first time here. Would have liked to have earned it properly, but I was pulling away from the rest of the pack, and I was actually keeping up with this. In fact, I was catching the STs. I was doing exceptionally well, even though I say so myself. So I was very pleased with that. Got myself a win, although I only did about a lap of racing, so a little bit disappointed in that. But I think even if it carried on, I would have continued to pull away from the pack behind me. So yeah, very pleased. Let's see if we might do something in the Focus Cup next year. So hopefully Coral will be able to put something together, a nice bit of video, not all the footage for the second race, but I'm sure she'll put something together. I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.